All right, we're on the Festive Cup. It is Monday's qualifying round, and we are going to start this qualifying round off. I may or may not qualify today. Today is kind of a more of a practice day, so normally what I do when I'm on practice days is I will miss putts, but I will not mess my opponent over. So if my opponent's in a spot of bother, and it looks like they're going to get worse than a birdie or they've really got themselves in some trouble, I usually will go for all of the chip ins, really trying to make those. But once I get on the green, I'll let my opponent win the match. But if my opponent's in a spot of bother, I will shoot that to help my opponent out. I'm not playing shootouts, not practicing the shootout holes. So if my opponent goes first and they get a shootout, on the shootout, then I will usually let them take their practice shot if they don't forfeit, and then I'll forfeit the match. So I'm trying to be a good player, show some sportsmanship to my opponents. All right, so we're on hole one. So let's go to Golf Clash Notebook. And I can't emphasize enough, and if you guys watch my videos, these Golf Clash Notebook, going here and scouting out the holes, to me, is absolutely vital to get a mental image of what we're looking at here. This hole right here, there's numerous ways to go at it. You can come at it from down below. A lot of guys are coming at it from right over here. There's a flat area right in this area, and they're coming at it and they're dribbling it. It's almost, in some cases it is, clipping that fringe to slow the ball down. And then there's a flat area up here at the top of the green, and they're trying to get their ball to roll into that flat area, and it kind of feeds towards the hole. Like all par threes in tournaments, I go at them just a little bit different, and I'm sure there's somebody out there cringing, shaking their head, but I'm going to start off right in this area right here, and I'm going to go straight at the hole with my Saturn, and I'm going to use maximum backspin. I want to start on the green, and I want to stay on the green. I don't want to put into play any of this stuff down here. I don't want to put the rough, the fringe. I don't want to put any of that stuff into play on these par threes. It's more important to get a birdie on a par three than it is to try some risky shot to go for a hole in one. And you have just as good a shot at a hole in one here, especially on this type of hole with all of the movement that's going on this hole. It's not a go right at the hole type of par three. So this particular hole, we're going to go straight at it. So let's go back to our bag. If I can get rid of my pin here, we'll go back to our bag. And we're going to want to make sure that we bring a Saturn. Now, I'm pretty sure on these holes, on this hole, that it's a Saturn, but we're going to take our Guardian just in case I made some fatal error. And normally I like to start these holes off with a Navigator. It's a 1 power ball, and what I'm looking for when I'm on these par threes is I want to know where the cutoff is for the ball. So if the red line is right here, then I want to take my Saturn shot. I typically on these par threes, I like to find a ball where I'm taking my shot right here and the red line's right there, and I'm shooting the minimum distance for that club. That's when that club is the most accurate. So I'm going to try and find a ball that's going to put me to the point where when I set my shot up with my Saturn, I have just enough room to make any wind adjustments. And a lot of times on these types of par threes in the tournaments, they'll give us headwind. So I'm looking for a ball that's going to put my red line as close to where I'm starting my ball off as possible, because at that point, the club is the most accurate. Now, sometimes that doesn't work out because you're kind of in between, like the bottom red lines here and the top red lines here, and you're kind of in between those. But if I can, I always try and find a ball that puts that red line right where I'm going to hit, so my club's in its most accurate phase. So we're going to start off with a Navigator, because a Navigator is a good place to start off with, and on par threes it's good because it gives you a little bit of, drops that wind down, especially if you have a headwind. So we've got our clubs, we've got our ball, and we're going to go in and play hole one. I'm not really sure right now. It's early in the week. You know, we've practiced a lot. We had an opportunity to practice these holes, and I'm slightly burned out. So I'm not feeling it on Monday's qualifying round, but we have a couple of counts to play to practice these holes. We still have some holes that I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do yet on them. There's one of the big par fives. I've only got it once in one-on-one play, so I haven't really had a chance to practice that hole. All right, so we're going to be, where's our red line? So our max red line's up there. So we're at the top of our club we really couldn't go any less than a nav. We could go with a one power ball, I suppose. We've got that much room. We're going to treat this as a 2-2 or a 2.0. So we're going to go just a little over 2 rings. And we're going to go straight at it. Great to the left isn't helping. And we just got a birdie. And we'll have to refine that. I was thinking it would backspin a little bit further down that hill so we can start back a little bit further. The fear here is that if you start too far back and it catches hold, that it would dribble down the hole and you could end up down in this area here, and you do not want to end up down there. These downhill putts when you're going back up at it with that curvature on that on the green, they can be tough holes. So if you're gonna miss, it's better to miss a little short on the backside, just like we did, because you're still on the flat. Now our opponent used a Kingmaker X. Oh my gosh, I would love to have the ball that he just wasted on this hole. I mean, there's no reason to bring a 4 power ball onto a hole like this. I mean, it has regular 3 wins, so I mean, if you're bringing it for the win, there's other balls to use. But you know, when you're using your balls, you're really going to be thinking about, like, is this the appropriate place to be using that ball? Since I don't buy the huge dollar packs, I usually don't have a lot of those to waste, especially the power ones. All right, let's see what kind of shootout we got here. This is my favorite shootout. Of all the shootouts in this is the one that I believe you have the best opportunity for hole-in-one on. Now let's see which way our opponent goes. I think originally when this hole came out, almost everybody went from down here, but this top spot, and a lot of guys are going to do exactly what they have here, where they're starting off on the green and they're trying to stick it. I like to be all the way up here on the top where it's flat and come at the hole from the bottom. You can tell from our opponent, they're here, they haven't scouted this hole enough to know exactly what they're going to do on it, so they've spent a lot of their shot clock just trying to figure out where they're going to go. By the time you get to the tournament, you really want to have a good idea of what you're going to do on every hole so that you don't have to spend a lot of your shot clock time trying to figure out what you're going to do. All right, we will forfeit. Good game. Good luck. All right, that was hole 1, par 3 of the Festive Cup. Thanks for watching.